Have you ever come across one of those books where you just decided to randomly read it with no given reason or rhyme? You just saw it and you're like, okay, it's gonna go in my pending to be read list. I'm gonna do it one day. Well, that's essentially what happened with this, and it turned out to be a really good book. So I got this one in a random book haul at the thrift store, because you know what? The title caught my attention. I was like, The Eighth Day? What's that going to be about? And it turned out to be a lot better than I could have ever imagined. It's about a young boy named Jax, who's an orphan, who discovers a hidden day of the week. Hence the title, The Eighth Day. It has elements of time travel, fantasy, and magic. I think this is one of the more perfect books to read at night before you go to sleep, either as an adult or to a child. I think anyone above the age of 9 or 10 should be okay. Any younger than that, and they might be a little confused as to what is going on. And a book that I can compare this to as to why I enjoy this so much, it reminds me a lot of Holes by Louis Sachar. It's super easy to read, it's a good adventure, and most importantly, good character development. Jax Aubrey, that orphan kid that I was talking about, the protagonist, the main character, you can see the development happening from start to finish, and it's pretty cool. I will say this though, the language, words, and I guess the sentence structure, very simple. And so I was like, why is this so easy to read? Come to find out, as you can see by the back of this book, Scholastic, it tends to be a book on the mandatory reading list for the summertime for elementary and middle school students. So this book is catered for young kids, but as a 30-something-year-old, I was like, dude, this is actually really enjoyable and good. I don't know why no one has ever heard of this book or talks about it, which is not to throw shade at the author, Dianne Salerni. By the way, I found out that she wrote this book while she was a 5th grade teacher. And then her students of that classroom were some of the first readers of this novel. And after this book became so successful, she ended up not being a teacher anymore. She's a full-time writer. And I think that's a pretty interesting but also inspiring story. A teacher becomes a full-time author from testing out her books from her students' feedback. And they're like, whoa, we love this, Miss Salerni. What's next? And what's next for me? Come to find out, there's more to this series. There's 3 books in total. There's a sequel. So I'm definitely going to be reading the next book chronologically, the Eighth Day series. So if you're anything like me where you get bored easily if the book is too dense and it's too thick and too wordy, then I can tell you right now that this book is on the opposite end of that spectrum, where each chapter super fast-paced, easy to, when I say easy to read, I cannot make this up. It's catered for a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old. So even if you have ADD like I do, or ADHD, this is one of those books where if you want to become a reader and you can't find one and you keep seeing, you should read this book recommendations on the internet, and you give it a try and you're like, this is so boring, and you put it down, this is the one to start with. I'm telling you right now. Because even though the classic books are classic for a reason, I think the fact that they were written 300, 400, or even 600 years ago, and the language and the way they talk, the semantics are so different, for me, it's hard to get into it. Right? I think one day, once I become a better reader, I'll try to tackle the classic books again. But as of right now, I'm having a lot of fun just reading random books. I guess I'm finding out that I should start out with the young adult and teenage category of books, because it's everything that I need right now as I am learning how to become a more proficient reader, which I think is pretty hilarious because I have an undergrad degree and a master's degree, but here I am, it's like, dude, I can't read for more than 20 minutes, but books like this, so easy. And the funny thing is, I spent the past 4.5, I think close to 5 months, knocking out just a few pages a day before I went to bed. That's one thing that I like to do before I go to bed. I like to just de-wind and relax the mind, because knowing myself and my past history, whenever I think too much or dwell on the past or get riled up before going to bed, once I physically lay down, I will not fall asleep because the brain starts racing with all sorts of thoughts and ideas. However, I can calm myself down by escaping to another reality through a book. And this one, even though it's only, how many pages is this? Okay, so it's 300 pages, but I think because There's so much space on each page, and the text size is pretty big. I think it's more or less realistically like 180 to 200 pages. So don't be intimidated by, oh my gosh, it's 300 pages. So all I'm trying to say is if you have access to a local library or a Libby audiobook app, give this one a try, The Eighth Day. And if you've already read it before, let me know your thoughts and opinions. This is a sleeper. This is really good. If I had to give it a rating, easily like an 8 out of 10. Would read again. I love it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look right now to see if the sequel is available to borrow. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.